reira, tēnā tātou katoa, ka whaiwa, te hui mai, ki tēnei o ngā kaupapa, te whakarongo, nei rā te mihi ki a koutou. Just want to acknowledge everybody involved in the sui, and for making time and being interested in the kaupapa. Was that like, that everybody just had like a little power shot? Yes, fine. No reira. Te rongo mai rā tātou, nā hauruhi, haungenge, hau e tukutuki a, hau e punu mai nā. Whanātou ka piki a koe, whanātou ka raka i a koe, koe na kawhinga, koe na raunga, koe na puritea, koe na tāwhia, koe i ana, kakarotua, roto te waike, roto mō na te reiki. Ka turuturu a tae, turuturu auta, whanno haumaiti, te haungi, pie, tae. Tera mai tātou.
Mihi ana ki a koe kauri nui mō tō kra ki a tīmata. Hioi, tuku ati rākau. I'll pass the time over to Robin Bigelow, who can provide some opening comments on our big reveal that we've got going tonight. Kei a koe, Robin.
Kia ora, ngā mihi nui ki a koutou katoa. Ko Robin Bigelow, Chairperson of Wet Action Native Habitat Restoration Trust, and really pleased to be here tonight at an exciting moment. It's the completion and potentially new beginnings for this project. And yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit. First of all, thank you, Nikki, for and Kainui for the karakia. I appreciate that. And to everybody that's joined us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, so the reason that we've come together is this has been the completion of our first year of the pilot project, and we want to share with you the outcomes of the project, to dialogue with you, to just tell you where we've been, what we've done, and to share with you the beginnings, the next steps that we want to be taking. So Wet Action has long strived to work in the partnership relationship with the Te Treaty of Waitangi underpinning so much of our motivation since 2019. We've been growing that capacity, growing that desire, that motivation. So, you know, one of the reasons that we really wanted to do this was that we noticed a really big gap in the void of tangata whenua in the conservation space in Whangārei Heads. And while we know this is a very rich pre-European history, there's little known about the stories of land alienation and loss. So we wanted to, that was one of our key motivations. I just wanted to say that. And so we have really embarked on that journey, and I'm going to hand it over to Nikki, who's going to start the presentation, and we'll be talking some more later. Thank you.
Ngā mihi kia koe, Robin. Kia koutou katoa. Just really want to acknowledge the time coming together. It's dinner time in many people's whare, and it's just a chance to listen. Our hui tonight is being recorded, so we will put it on YouTube, and you will have a chance to revisit or forward on to anyone who missed out. But there's been many who have shown an interest in the pilot project as we've progressed over the last nearly 2 years now. And it's been a huge honour and a privilege to be part of this, and to have the investment to be able to progress what not only Wet Action and other groups have been asking for, but also to really deliberately engage, ask questions, and look to do things differently in how we approach habitat restoration and conservation mahi across Whangārei Heads. Ka huri au he tuku mihi ki ngā hapū me ngā whānau o tēnei rohe. Ngā tini hapū me ngā iwi kia u kia whai ana, haere ana ki tō hia mō tō taonga o tēnei rohe. It's a treasured place, and there's many who care about it, and that's what makes some of this work so tricky. But yeah, we're here and we've given it a crack, and we're really keen to share the outcomes of this work. My role in the pilot project was to work as the project manager, and also was part of supporting Weed Action to put in a funding application for this project. But we're at that kind of critical point now where we've worked away, we've tried things differently, and we've tried a different way of preparing our mahi for the taiao. And now we're at the conclusion of this phase, and we're really reflecting and evaluating on where we got to, what we hope to do, what we managed to do, and what challenges we encountered along the way, but also what's next, you know. So that's kind of where we're at now, whānau. So this is the community impact report that's been prepared by Aki Tai Here and Weed Action Native Habitat Restoration Trust. And it's for this this kind of one-off pilot project with a very bland name, but with an intent, a big intent, which is to build or to strengthen local mātauranga collaborations, informed collaborations for habitat restoration across the Whangārei Heads area. Sliding on with the thing. There's many who have contributed to this project. So it's really only a short list that's there now, but there were so many. By our count, there's over 30 individual groups of agencies, community groups, schools, whānau hapū iwi groups, kura kaupapa Māori, that have contributed to this project and been part of it along the way. And what we can achieve tonight is only a snapshot of some of that mahi and that mahitahi that has occurred, but it's a big mahi to everyone who's invested and to worked alongside us, those who have worked alongside us in this project, you know, and encountered some of these challenges along the way together as well. What was the intent of the project? Is our kind of first question we really wanted to ask to ourselves tonight, and in the community report. What did we trial, you know, and we were really keen to share tonight and in our report that's to be released in the coming days. What did we trial? How did we do it? How did we strive to meet that intent to build or strengthen local mātauranga informed collaborations? What were our challenges? What were our barriers? And then what's next? To further strengthen the ability for everyone to mahitahi in a way that's absolutely informed by the local mātauranga of this rohe of Whangārei Heads area. Robin's already spoken well to the intent, but you know, it took us a while to boil down a few more kind of clearer goals, even though these ones look quite a bit high level and academic as well. It's still hard to tell exactly what's going to be done in this project when you look at the screen here. But, you know, we wanted to measure ourselves by a few goals. So these are the ones we came up with, is to strengthen collaboration, to build capacity and capability of everyone to be able to mahitahi in local mātauranga informed collaborations. With a special focus, was to grow the leadership of tangata whenua in whatever aspect we could take direction from in the course of this project across the Whangārei Heads area. We were really keen to trial whatever we got told by kaumātua, whānau hapū iwi, alongside our ecologically informed objectives for habitat restoration. And we were especially keen to seek endorsement for what's next from those whānau hapū and iwi, who are often absent in the discussions, the strategy sessions, and the decision-making spaces for the future of taiao mahi across Whangārei Heads. I won't labour the point too much, but you know, there's a context in which we live and we work in, and it's one where we've all missed out on having te reo Māori, tikanga Māori, and I guess community that's built upon the culture, the traditions of our whānau hapū, our Whangārei Heads, in the wider areas. And that's due to the misuse of power, let's put it, and the many breaches of te tiriti o Waitangi over the years. And part of that story is absolutely about land alienation, which we can kind of see as a visual reminder of how few kāinga Māori we have left in the Whangārei Heads area. So while it is an extremely culturally significant landscape, it is a challenge, largely because of this, where we have so few kāinga Māori left in the gold on the right side of the page there. Many taonga, so not just the cultural landscape, of course, at front of mind in the work that all of us do in our mahitahi and our engagement and our collaborations together is these taonga, these places, the many species, flora and fauna that we would love to see restored and thriving across this area. And it's also the unique biodiversity values and hotspot, really, that the Whangārei Heads area offers and stands out across Tai Tokiro. High value. I think I could take a little bit of time just speaking to a little bit more about this intent. In the past, at the start of this project, we had named it the Whakahaurua project, and it was following an intent it doesn't start with us. It started long time ago, and perhaps at the earliest recognition of that is when cultures came together, nations and states came together to sign a treaty together, te tiriti o Waitangi. And moving forward over a huge amount of time, really, and many generations, that intent remains. And especially in whānau hapū, we were absolutely still committed to te tiriti o Waitangi and everything that promised. But yeah, there's many kind of roadmarks along the way, far more than the 5 or 6 that are laid out here. But in our context, for this iteration of a whakahaurua intent, the pilot project, which we call it now, really was building on these steps and these histories, largely led out by our kaumātua, we're so really lucky to have still here with us, our cultural leadership, in Ngāti Wai, Te Wairiki, our whanaunga across the kāinga and rohe, who have set out those goals and aspirations and continue to keep the pressure on for the restoration of the relationship. Whakahaurua, for those that aren't familiar, is the formal name of those ocean navigating waka, the traditional waka that our tupuna travelled many places, including all the way here to Aotearoa. And those whakahaurua are absolutely a space where our whānau hapū are fully committed to the restoration of as well. And so it was early on in the project we put that symbology aside as not to confuse or to misalign this project, which is about te taiao, with the absolute endeavour for whakahaurua in themselves and everything that they symbolise. And so yet the whakahaurua has been a symbology that's been used across many attempts to mahitahi in the spirit of te tiriti o Waitangi. And so that's what we carry forward today. But we did change the name. We moved away from the name of the pilot of the Whakahaurua project, and we named it the pilot project. Something really practical and bland, but leaving a space for perhaps a new symbology to be created as this particular project developed. Okay, so haere tonu, how did we do it? That's the question. And it took a while. There was a funding application put to Foundation North in 2022, which in high trust was approved and invested in by Foundation North early in 2023. the intent of the project was to strengthen and, you know, continue to build on the waka haurua mahi that Weed Action had been following, which had already led to the establishment and training program of Aki Tai Here, but also had led us to treaty training being offered, to other avenues to strengthen up the ability to mahitahi in the spirit of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. And so we had some ideas at that point on what would be next. Direct engagement with tangata whenua was key. And so what it turned into was an iterative project that developed as we went and as we learnt information together along the way. And so, yeah, that took a while, many conversations, thousands of conversations, I might say, to inform this project. And a lot of time having hui without any doi. Nearly 9 months, in fact, where we were contracted to, Weed Action was contracted to deliver this pilot project. And it took us until September perhaps that year to be confident in understanding really how we were going to work at it. And that was after many, many conversations. But what we were able to initiate in that time as well was the clear objective around capacity and capability building. Not only with a focus on whānau hapū iwi, you know, getting tooled up and geared up and good to go and getting their first aids and so on, but also with shared opportunities to discuss and to share information on he whakaputanga me te tiriti, on some of our cultural context, and to also talk about our values together. So there was a lot of involvement at that phase around capacity building and understandings, growing understandings. And it was about that time that we really cracked into whānau hapū iwi engagement, which led to the initiation of a strong work stream around desktop research, because what we heard loud and clear was that, you know, there's been lots of local mātauranga informed work in the past. What's happened with that work? And so that became a point of focus, was to go looking across the government agencies and councils and where that mahi had progressed to, that we had heard from that whānau hapū iwi engagement. And we had a few big community events as well, but we'll get into that. Where we're at now is that late 2024 phase, where we're really looking to plan on what's the priority for going forward. We're able to take a bit of a breather and to consider the next steps in a way that benefits everyone who's seeking to do habitat mahi across Whangārei Heads. I'm just going to speak briefly to the super diversity that we have in the whakapapa, the lineages of Whangārei Heads areas and beyond. And this list is perhaps not even comprehensive. And it's a list which I absolutely mihi to as a uri, as a descendant of many of these hapū and the tupuna who traversed the Whangārei Heads in the times before Te Tiriti o Waitangi. And yet today, all have a huge amount of priorities and other mahi that they need to progress as well, across a broad range of important things for the well-being of people and the whenua. So huge mihi to our whānau hapū iwi of the Whangārei Heads and those iwi tawhito that came before us. But here in our project today, these were the groups that we absolutely felt, you know, sought to communicate with and to engage with. But it's not only, you know, the formal entities of these. Inside all of that, we have haukainga, we have whānau, we have kaumātua, who all have, who we sought to take an inclusive approach with our engagement as we went. And the end result of that is over 25 direct hui where we directly engaged with whānau hapū iwi of the Whangārei Heads area to be informed by them on what was priority, what was not, and and gather their thoughts around the holistic approach to mahi Mō taiao, but also for the habitat restoration projects we had in mind, to see what we needed to take into account for that. There was an intent to have shared decision making and shared project governance that absolutely afforded the right of mana i te whenua, the right of veto. The right of veto for mahi to occur, and to be engaged in this project in their own terms. And so that's quite a high bar that we set ourselves, and it absolutely remains the goal, where mana i te whenua groups are able to absolutely determine how taonga species in the area are looked after, and how the whenua is tiaki'd. And we can get into a lot of detail really quickly in a conversation that seeks to have that level of recognition of the voice of mana i te whenua. And I guess as an outcome of this project, we've really only just started initiating the journey to be able to understand those objectives, those priorities, and also those areas which require constraints or conditions of consent to be able to mahi forward. I'll keep going. I'm gonna hand it over to Korero now, who can share some words around the actual mahi. So everything I've covered is a bit on that planning side and theorizing side around what we're trying to do here. But absolutely, it's where the boots hit the ground. That's that's the bit we're all here to hear as well. So mihi ana, tukua kia koe Korero.
Tēnā tātou katoa. Hopefully you can hear me. But just tēnei te ki me te tautoko i ngā kōrero ko kōrero here. Just really wanted to acknowledge the words and that have been spoken so far, and just to say I fully support all of that kōrero. That's totally agree with you, Nikki. Been a massive project. Ata, ko wai tēnei. My name is Te Korero Robert Parata. On my dad's side, I'm connected to places like Pātaua South, Manaia, and Tamatero, Wakaraka, and Ngunguru. Some of those hapūs would be Te Waireke, Ngāti Korora, Ngāti Takapari, and Ngāti Wai, which was the area I was born into. And I've been lucky enough to work with Aki Tai Here and our collective of kaimahi who are uri of most of these hapūs that are connected to Whangārei. And I guess where to start? I guess mainly to do with this project. This project with Foundation North has been instrumental to our team's development and also continued relationship and working with most of these areas, which is what contributed to our, I guess, selection of sites. So, if you can see on the slide there for 2023-24, we're, I guess, prioritize these areas like Pukanamu, Coles Bush, Smugglers Bay, Lambs Road, Rahui Kuri, Te Pāpuni, all of which we would kind of thought of as places that either we already know and have already worked on with other fundings, like some of the fundings was like wilding pine control and other fundings like World Wildlife Fund, particularly with Pātaua, because I guess that's where our team started and was in Pātaua on the Puke Tūtai about 3 years ago, 3 or 4, something like that. And I guess the tough thing was, what was the tough thing? Initial half. Yeah, I guess the tough thing was that seeing the initial half of the project was like delayed due to all these hui and trying to really identify what were priorities for mana i te whenua. And because there are so many uri of the mana and the hapū and the iwi that are associated with this rohe, it makes it, I guess, like extra complicated, like because you have to talk to everyone. Otherwise, if you forget one, then that usually contributes to more raru that has been. But by going and moving slowly in the consultation part with the other hapū and trying to understand what is important for them in a way that kind of aided us in paving the way forward, like it was kind of acting, to me, it felt like loading and drawing a bow and setting the aim strategically for I guess the most impact that we could get with this funding and this project altogether. But I don't want to talk about all of these areas, but just to talk about some, like mātauranga for us, where otherwise, you know, like this war, you end up getting kind of lost because there's so much areas, so much to do. And so it really does help to, I guess, sequence the priorities. And for us as Māori, and if you had seen the map before, the last areas or land blocks that are left in Māori hands that are closest to Manaia and Te Whara, Pātaua South and Paiharuru and a bit there in Rahui and Solomon's Point over there, as well as Tamatero and Pakikaukutu. And so obviously those would be like key priority areas for tangata whenua and mana i te whenua that are still on the whenua there. And right, but for us it was mahi on Pātaua has been just huge because that's where we started. Okay, like on Dudai, if we're able to switch the slides, if we move on to other slides, Nikki, am I able to do that? Oh yeah. Hi. But it's been quite for environmental mahi. It's quite holistic. But definitely our main kind of buzz has been for pest weed control. But on this hui on the top left picture, we've been engaging heaps, and it's been our easiest to consult with our own whānau because it's just been the easiest to involve tangata whenua for us on whenua that we well and truly know. So just seeing the results of our work that was started in 2021, maybe January, all the way to now, I guess some of the key outcomes for us has been a sense of hope that every bit of contribution that we give to work on these areas, that we are like seeing positive and constructive growth. Like for the Dudai in particular, that's had a number. We had dropped a number of pine trees and eucalyptus, and it made it so open that it was prone to picking up more and more pest weed species. And obviously the wilding pine project, that's why we had done that, and we can see the results now, making time for our native young flora species to, I guess, thrive. And yeah, I guess there's one major kōrero, I guess, from Dad and Matatohe, about the Kauri dieback mahi, and I guess when they were questioned heaps about like the work they would have been doing with treating our own kauri as one of the taonga species for us, and how do you actually prove that it is showing good results? The matua said, because they're not scientists in the ake world, the matua said, o waiho mā tēnā ngāhere e kōrero. Really just, there's nothing I say here that will actually give it justice to really show what good effect we're doing there. They're saying, waiho mā tēnā ngāhere e kōrero. Leave it for that forest to have the last word. And I honestly encourage you guys to come visit and see some of these areas. And and you let us know what you're hearing from those forests now. But I hope I'm not going over time, Nikki. All good. Again, with our pātau on that slide, I'd like to talk to some of these pictures. Like if we could go to the previous picture again. Like on Manaia. Manaia's been like massive for us. Where's that photo? Yeah, like on the top right, and left, we've been, I guess, working on our capacity to coordinate. And I think in this type of coordination on the ground and trying to make a good plan, being inclusive and making a safe space, I guess that's been a skill we've been building to mahitahi. I hope that counts as proof, these pictures. And obviously the people that are in those pictures. But next slide, please. Next slide. Oh yeah, this one for pātau itself. Like, it's been awesome making a even bigger effort than we done 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, we attempted to, and we did plant pingo and spinifex along the beach of pātau itself. I think it's called Whangārei Bay. But what happened was, I think during the motohe for pātau, the king tides came in and they ripped out all of the pingo that we had planted back then. And so it was really awesome to like put in more effort and it go even harder with the pingo, spinifex, the pōhuehue and the wīwī, and getting aid from Northern Regional Council to try our team methods, and see if it works better. We definitely planted well above the high tide this time, so I'm looking forward to that planting over the summer and how it stands. On the bottom left, Reotahi is another priority area for the iwi. I guess, like there you can see Ranera there, I think, amongst the velvet groundsel. Just highly encourage anybody to go for a hikoi on that Reotahi trek, and waiho mā tērā ngāhere e kōrero. I guess the other photo on the bottom right, I wasn't there on that day. Me and Ngāwari, we were on offshore islands on Maui Taha, but apparently this was on Coles Bush, and that was a cool opportunity we set up for, I guess, collaboration, wānangatahi, like to share skills with kaitiaki o te wai Māori, or Shante, And because we were concerned with the awa on that bush, where it's pretty much surrounded by farmlands, and so there was dirty water coming in from one side, getting cleaned. Well, what we could see or suspected was clean in the middle, and then once that water passed over through the fence line, it was back into the farmland. So, yeah, I guess we were quite curious on seeing what the quality of that water was like, and I guess to really identify what our taonga species like the kahikatea and others are doing to our way. Next photo, please. Next slide. Yeah, it's this photo on the left there for being on top of our game for the Kauri Taiback, or for, according to the mātauras, we're trying to promote Kauri Ora. That was, I guess, thanks to this project from Foundation North, we're able to get a bit of time to have a proper wānanga with our kaumātua, with Dad and Mātauranga Ashby, and identifying how they are producing our rongoa and the methodologies to work on the sick kauri that are in our ngahere. And the one on the right, there's a photo I remember, it was Deotahi, and oh no, sorry, for Pukenamu. So Pukenamu, I guess, is one of those initial or first projects that Aki Tai Here has worked on, and there was still more to contribute to this maunga or this puke. One of that was just maintaining our attack on the pest weeds on here, and establishing tracks. And next slide, please. Oh, this is my favorite. Was us, I guess, trying to build our muscle on the admin side. Report writing in particular has been a hard fun for most of us. But every bit counts. I was talking to Panaki about it, and it looks like through this project we've spent about 2,200 hours, and most of it I think has been field time. But was there an addition of hours there, Nikki, for the admin time? And we ended up coming with, what's that, Nikki?
Yeah, the numbers were 2,200 of field time. That's the mahi, the boots on the ground time, surveying, in some 2,200 hours over 18 months.
Wow. And so, we kind of jokingly came up with a whakatauki, which was to remind ourselves that for every step we take, there's probably at least 2 words being written down behind it. And it is kind of looking like it's 50% at least of what is actually required for this type of work, to move with purpose. Next slide.
I could take it back off you there, Cody, and just speak to a bit of the desktop research that was undertaken.
Quite. Was there anything else I should be mentioning?
No, Mihiana, thank you very much. I think that's a good insight into the, the passion, the highs, the hard parts as well of what is both a workforce capacity and capability intent, as well as their intent to be more connected, So, the here or the priorities of our whānau hapū iwi. Yeah, it is a big and challenging mahi. And it's a long journey too, more than just a year or two. Yeah, but haere tonu, eh? Love the whakataukī.
But there was just one more, just kind of summary of what
Okay.
we've done. Just being kaimahi, like on the ground worker, really it has been an honour and a privilege to do the mahi. And I think some of the intentions, most of the intentions have been attained, or like we've really taken major steps towards working on attaining these. But I guess definitely for us, this project has allowed us to make foundational relationships and surveys for each of these areas. And so whatever happens in these areas, we definitely know what needs to be done next time if we ever get more funding. Thank you.
He ana, kia ora ki a koe, kairi noi, haere tonu. Ngā mahi, I think another quick point to add there, because I think we haven't covered it as well as we should have in this presentation, but just that, so the level of collaboration, support and relationships built for each of those sites to be worked upon. It required a lot of landowner trust and engagement. And then nearly every site that's on that list also had a collaborative working partner like Kiwi2 Trust or DOC or the SWAT team from Weed Action, Breamhead Conservation Trust. There's a full range of those who also were directly involved in each of those sites. So at the moment, we're just in the kind of stage of formulating our site-specific reports that you can see the team working hard at on that screen there. And that, each of those site-specific reports is for the landowner as well as the mana i te whenua to ultimately endorse for taking forward. And we look forward to directly engaging with those who have been involved in each of those mahi to whakaai or to really consider and how to move forward for habitat restoration at those sites, but also the broader intent of ensuring our local mātauranga is held appropriately and considered appropriately in each of those mahi. But there was, when we did do, for those who we did engage with in whānau hapū iwi space, and again, that wasn't comprehensive. As you saw, that list was 12 iwi whānau hapū groups long, or hapū and iwi groups long. Ultimately, the bulk of our engagement, as Kairi Nui suggested, was with those whānau who live on the whenua Māori remnants that are there today. And it was from there we were able to take great direction, but also progress with confidence in the areas that pertain to them. These things can be quite detailed in terms of where we can speak to in whānau hapū iwi land. So there was a lot of caution required in approaching those conversations and a lot of challenges along the way. But one that we heard loud and clear, which we were keen to share tonight, is pointing out that there's been a lot of attempts to progress the priorities of our whānau, our hapū, and our whānau who are haukainga on these lands at Pātawa, Taiharudu, and Rahui Kuri, Solomon's Point, Paki Kaikotu. These places, there's been work programs in the past, and often it was asked, what's happened with those kaupapa now? They were to do with bats, they were to do with taonga plant species, the TT work, tuatara, Dactylanthus taylorii came up, which is the wood rose. So there's just a wide range of previous mahi that's been underway that was heavily invested in by our whānau hapū iwi over the years that didn't seem to have maintained a connection. So we've been on the hunt across the research institutions and the government agencies that have been party of that work in the past. And what we're keen to share tonight is just some initial themes from that desktop research, because like most research, it's how long is a piece of string? But we're keen to point out some themes around when we do get into the desktop research and the written records of conservation activities across the Whangārei Heads. Occasionally there is a strategic mention or an intent to engage or to have iwi at the table or involved in the mahi. But often there isn't any evidence of Māori being involved in the mahi. This is going back through time. And, we're not too sure as to the reasons of that, but often that Māori leadership, which we know is there because we know our kaumātua have been doing the work over generations, it's often undocumented or unrecognised. It's important, it's not news, but that biodiversity will continue to threaten the taonga of Whangārei Heads biosecurity. It's persistent. There's new invasives, and the management programs for these, are often also where we don't have whānau hapū Māori in that biosecurity response space, informing the discussion and the strategies to respond. Many taonga species are data deficient, and this is work that this is really looking into, the species I listed before and many others. It's hard to say at Whangārei Heads or beyond what's the plan and what's the population abundance, in recent years. And it's an underinvestment really in the surveying and the ongoing monitoring of these taonga. Coastal and marine ecosystems are of particular note. Dune lands, the back dunes, those habitats are taonga and really important and unique, and also under a lot of pressure. And it's quite rare to find a strategy or a plan that focuses on coastal and marine, the uniqueness of those areas that need habitat restoration across Aotearoa and Whangārei Heads. And that those species that are under threat are absolutely front of mind for the bulk of the whānau hapū iwi engagement that has occurred across Whangārei Heads in the past. This work is ongoing. It's really just like ... to be continued. And so that is what we're thinking about, is how to do this, is how to collate the information we have gathered and then to share appropriately with the wider conservation community, so we can all consider our strategies moving forward based on this, what we can find in the archives of various organisations and research institutions going forward. So that's kind of the mahi. That's roughly how we did it, this pilot project. There's more work to be done. We're looking to release a community outcomes report, which will have a lot more detail in the coming days. By next week, we'll have it out, and there'll be like the mass email to share that out with everyone. But really, our last kind of question we're critically asking ourselves at this point is, what were the challenges along the way? What was the uniqueness of this project as well? And how we can kind of start to share those lessons that we've picked up along the way with the wider community, so that you can maybe incorporate it into your practices. There are many, but tonight just really wanted to focus some time and hand it over to Robin, who can share some of the insights, being Weed Action, who provided both the governance and at an operational level the mahitahi with our Aki Tai Here team to seek to progress this project. So I'll pass it over to you, Robin.
Kia ora, Nikki, and thank you, Kaori and Nikki, for that presentation. It just really helped me experience yet again the richness and the ambition of this project, and what has been achieved. And I think back to Papahuri's wero or challenge that he put down to Weed Action to help train and build a conservation rangatahi conservation team of Whangārei Heads. And I just feel so thrilled to have been part of this and seen what's been achieved. It's really remarkable. And I just want to say from the governance tauiwi perspective that implementing a treaty-based partnership is very complex, as you explained, Nikki. And, you know, it's taken a great deal of thought, consideration, aroha, flexibility for both sides of this partnership to be able to listen and understand, and you know, particularly for Weed Action to step into another worldview and really learn to appreciate it, and to grow enormously in the process. So, you know, some of the challenges that we did experience were, you know, some of the assumptions that we had as conservation group about the right way of doing the work, and, you know, to really give space to think and to listen and to be inclusive of mātauranga, of tikanga, and to incorporate that into conservation practice has been not only challenging, but absolutely rewarding and very significant for us as an organisation. You know, some of those challenges you talked about the adjusting timeframes and things like that. You know, like so many Pākehā are, you know, very linear and goal focused, and timeframes are very important. So to be able to learn to sit back and relax and trust and wait while the collaboration happened, while the growth happened for the team, that was really an important step for us to be able to just sit back, to trust. You know, the demands on tangata whenua time, on you know, the complexity of so many challenges on your time often meant that those time delays were, you know, a bit of a struggle for us. But you know, what really did help us a lot was seeking guidance. We had amazing support from Moya Armstrong as a trust group, and she was, you know, instrumental in helping us as a trust to think about things differently. And as we read the myriad of information she sent our way, did the treaty workshops, really discussed and explored our assumptions and our preconceived ideas, it was, you know, it really helped us grow as an organisation and as individuals. So while I think this is, we're at the baby steps of partnership growing, but like any partnership, you know, it's something that is based on trust, on respect, and on building slowly, you know, giving time and space to that relationship. So we see this as a work in progress. It's not, we're not there. But we are certainly feel inspired, I speak for the Trust, in saying that really embracing and understanding a different worldview has brought a whole different perspective to our conservation mahi for many of us. You know, that recognising the reciprocity of all things has been very enriching. So we have gone away from killing weeds in our mentality to thinking more about the whole habitat, and, you know, considering you know, the spiritual and the you know, the waterways, the wetlands, the oceans, the habitat in a holistic way. And that practice is growing and inspiring for us all. So I just want to, how do I want to finish this? Just by, I guess, saying, by saying it's the mahitahi that is the place where we grow. It's the place where the partnership builds. It's some of the mahitahi events that we've had have been really, really wonderful. And the continuation of that and the cross-fertilisation that happens as the mahitahi happens between, you know, the wider conservation community and Aki Tai Here and Weed Action and other hapū iwi that get involved. That's where I guess the healing, the inspiration, the passion, and the well, the whole purpose of this project gets represented. So yeah, I think that's all I need to say. Yeah. Thank you, Nikki.
Kia ora. Kia ora koutou, kia ora Robin, and just the ongoing work. That's the end of our presentation, whānau. That's the end of the slides, at least. Thanks everyone for their sharing, and we've kind of put ourselves on the spot a bit as well as at FYI for this webinar, because we were really needing to reflect and to prepare our report and understand, you know, what's the priority for the next stage. And so popping up a quick little webinar like this is helpful for us to express and refine our thinking, but also to share and engage and hear back if anyone has any views on what they've heard tonight. But again, it's kind of like a snippet, and we're looking forward to getting the full report out so that you can kind of you know, initiate more conversations, I suppose. I guess just in closing, just really want to acknowledge the intent, the wakahaurua intent, and the many attempts to achieve that from many conservation groups across the Whangārei Heads in the past. Kua hau nei, as a uri of the many of the hapū that have connections and histories across the Whangārei Heads area. You know, I'm always mindful of the caution and the importance to really protect the whānau hapū iwi relationships, to protect our whanaungatanga as we move through various mahi and various impacts on our whenua as well. And that there's often challenges when trying to, you know, kick something off or get it off the ground and all of that. And we're a bit brave to tackle this one, and we certainly leave this project better informed. But again, the relevance of this project kind of is so unique. It's very unique to this project. We had an existing toolbox, we had our existing relationships across families, across whānau, across previous work streams, and we had the existing ability to already to mahitahi between Aki Tai Here and Weed Action kaimahi. And remembering that Aki Tai Here, while it's a Māori organisation, we're absolutely not representative of the whānau hapū and iwi of the Whangārei Heads area. We're absolutely keen, passionate taiao hapū members, but when it comes to representing the full and rich diversity that is our whakapapa across the Whangārei Heads, that absolutely is a very, very noble challenge, and we're happy to contribute this as a step towards restoration of whānau hapū iwi connections to the whenua. Being able to whakamahi the whenua as uri is an honour and privilege beyond compare. But there's always that caution for anyone who's seeking to mahitahi with the likes of Aki Tai Here or other people who show up, our individual whānau hapū iwi members that'll come and tautoko your endeavours from time to time, is to protect our whanaungatanga is always important by not implicating us or suggesting that in any way that's like that's fully representative of what our whānau hapū iwi has to offer through that reconnection mahi. So I just wanted to caution everyone with that kind of going forward, and bring a close to our presentation and our accountability to our audience tonight. Before I hand it back to Kauri Nui, just to let you know, so everyone knows what's the next steps. We have, as we bring this this phase of the project to a close, it's still called the Pilot Project Whānau. We didn't come up with any flash new name for something to symbolise the mahitahi or the intent to mahitahi that kind of sits there. But in saying that, we have some kind of very clear recommendations to the wider community to take into consideration as they work going forwards. I think we look forward to sharing those, but part of it is around continuing to build that waka as we're sailing it, you know, and to haere tonu the mahi, but we're also looking for tangible things that are going to assist both sides of the waka on our whānau hapū iwi Māori side, as well as our tangata tiriti side to move ahead with confidence and with direction and purpose, and for the betterment of the whenua. And so mihi ana kia koutou, mihi o te pō. Look forward to hearing your comments, feedback, however that comes in. There'll be some information that'll come out when we put the webinar up on the YouTube, and then we'll also have the report and the recommendations to share at that point as well. But yeah, for now, mihi o te pō, and tuku a te rākau, hoki ki a koe Kauri Nui mō te karakia mutinga o te pō. Mihi ana kia koutou.
Ka pai. Thank you to everybody for attending, and especially to our panel of Kai Korero. And looking forward to more mahi in the future. Nō reira. Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, kia te whai o tō tātou ariki a Whangārei, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga teitanga, ki te wairua tapu. Ake, amene. Ngā mihi.